Today's episode of Both Sides Are Not the Same. Let's talk about this deranged conspiracy theory that Donald Trump has reshared. Folks, this right here should alarm anybody. Whether he actually believes this stuff or not, to me, is kind of irrelevant. The fact that a sitting president would be sharing conspiracy theories from QAnon-related pages is pretty disturbing in itself. The fact that he wants to tap into those kind of people, and that's the voices he chooses to amplify. But in this crazy conspiracy theory that he has reshared, these people actually believe that Joe Biden was executed under secret military tribunals, and he was replaced by a clone, a robot. Yeah, that's the type of thing. When I was growing up, we used to walk by we'd be in the grocery store, and they'd have those little black and white magazines there back in the day, and it would say that a woman gave birth to an alien, or that a person survived an electric chair, or someone fell out of a plane from 30,000 feet and bounced twice and got up and walked away from it. I mean, that's the type of stuff that this is. But for a sitting president to share that the former president has been executed and replaced by a robot is truly deranged. And I think it just shows that Donald Trump is really not playing with a full deck of cards if he would be willing to promote that type of thing. The question becomes, does he really believe this, or is this just him trying to stir the pot? Either way you slice it, folks, it's not normal. And we really need to continue to keep calling this stuff out because it is not normal. And as long as we amplify those types of voices, we're never going to be able to get down to the issues at hand and really work on what needs to be worked on. We're never going to be able to face real challenges if we have a president who is willing to amplify such garbage. We want to talk about a living wage. We want to talk about universal health care. We want to talk about workers being treated fairly. We want to talk about everyone having not a handout in this world, but a hand to play. We want to talk about people being able to come to this country and make a better way for themselves without being demonized and called a criminal and a member of a gang and have other conspiracy theories spread about them. There's so much important work that we need to get down to doing. And then you've got a guy over here sharing this type of bullshit out into the world, and that's the type of voices he wants to amplify. When you align yourself with those kind of people and you amplify those kind of voices, what that does is muddy the water. And that may be the whole intent of this, to simply muddy the water as much as he possibly can to where everyone will get distracted and caught up in the weeds buying in to this garbage. And he knows that those conspiracy theorists that believes these things, he knows they're the absolute easiest people out there to manipulate. They're the easiest people to control because they will believe anything. And when he reshares these things, he's throwing them a bone. So to everyone that says, oh, well, both sides are the same. I don't really like Democrats or Republicans. They both suck. Every president in my life has done good and every president in my life has done bad. Name me another president who has ever shared these bizarre and bogus and clearly debunked conspiracy theories. Name one president that's sat and shared those in the past and amplified that type of rhetoric. You can't. There's not one. Donald Trump is it. And the weirdest part to me about this whole conspiracy theory is, so this secret military tribunal was supposed to have happened under Trump's first term. So is he admitting that he executed Joe Biden? The whole thing just makes no sense. And then why would Joe Biden's robotic clone come out and announce that it's got cancer? I mean, there's just so... The thing about these conspiracy theories, folks, I'm not telling you that I've never questioned an official story before. I absolutely have. I still to this day have questions about, was someone on the grassy knoll? But I have never sat and entertained the idea that Michelle Obama was a man or that Hillary Clinton owned a satanic pizza parlor. This stuff just keeps getting more and more out there and more ridiculous every time they share something. And you have a sitting president amplifying these types of voices at a time when we're trying so hard to stay focused. But maybe that's the whole point. I go back to that. Maybe the whole point of all of this is muddying the water, and amplifying those types of voices because he knows he needs those people. If you take the crazy conspiracy theorist out of his base, he doesn't have one. He really doesn't have voters once you take all those people away. He loses, and he knows that. So he's always going to amplify that. But we're never going to be able to have a serious conversation in this country until we start calling this stuff out more. More reasonable people has got to stand up to this insanity instead of just writing it off like, well, yeah, Trump's just being Trump, man. That's just how he is. He just loves stirring the pot. He just loves getting people worked up. He just loves creating controversy. Well, while he's sitting here getting people worked up and creating controversy by sharing all these ridiculous conspiracy theories, he's actually undermining and just completely unraveling our democracy altogether. He's absolutely shredding the Constitution, shredding the courts, ignoring the Supreme Court, you name it. People are being shipped out of this country with no due process, and everybody's okay with it because it's not them. There is so much going on right now, and then this gets thrown out into the world, and everybody's going to latch onto it and talk about it because you have to. It's so damn crazy. You have to point out that it's crazy. You have to call it out as such. But we cannot continue to amplify these type of people and these type of voices, because if we do, these type of people and these type of voices is what's going to be dictating our lives from now on. So to people sitting back on the fence going, I don't know what I need to do, I don't know which side to trust, the Democrats are just as bad, blah, 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 whatever your take is on this, you got to look at what is Donald Trump doing right now? What is Congress doing right now? What's the Senate doing? What's the Supreme Court's in his back pocket? Look at what they're doing. They're putting Project 2025 in motion, and they're putting the hammer down. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist here, but I sometimes look over at Project 2025 and I say, you know what? Those guys, like Stephen Miller, I mean, that dude does not have the personality. Neither does J.D. Vance. They're not the cult of personality. They don't have the ability to connect with people the way Trump does. Regardless of how crazy and bizarre and batshit he is, he does connect with people. They looked over, they saw that, and they're using this guy as their puppet to get things done. They even said it. I shared the clip here on the channel before. They were sitting behind closed doors, and they were saying, yeah, we know he has to say bad things about us. We know that he has to talk that way because what we're doing is not popular. What we want to do is not popular. We know that, but we'll get him through the door, and he will do what we say when we get him on the other side. And that's exactly what's happening. Now that they've got him on the other side, he's doing exactly what they say. And he's muddying the water and distracting everybody by putting out this ridiculous type of bullshit into the world. And then there's people out there that will believe it. A sitting president, folks, you got to let this sink in. A sitting president has reshared a theory that the former president was executed, I guess by him, during a secret tribunal and then replaced by a clone. It's so out there and so bizarre and so crazy that people will always latch onto this stuff that, folks, it's really hard for us to wrap our minds around. But we have to stay focused, and that's what I would advise everyone to do. Stay focused, call this out, and to the ones on our side, because our side's always at each other's throats. We never can seem to get it together over here. What I would say to you is, whatever your biggest disagreement is with your fellow progressive, liberal, Democrat, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you disagree with someone, say, whether it be Tim Walz or Gavin Newsom or Jasmine Crockett or Andy Beshear or anyone that might be an up-and-comer, you have to ask yourself, what do I disagree with them the most on? And whatever that one issue is, then you look over at Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, or anybody in this Project 2025 madness. You look over at them and say, okay, what would they do to make that one issue better? And I guarantee you what they're doing would not help in one way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's really the bigger picture you have to look at here. And you have to look at the bigger picture. Would any of these people over here amplify these type of voices? Would these people over here tell Proud Boys to stand back and stand by? Would these people over here tell people to march on the Capitol? That's the questions you really have to stop and ask yourself, because now we're in a place where we're over here trying to pick up the pieces. And I'm not trying to be Monday morning quarterback here and say this, but I was saying all along, folks, this is a very important election. If we lose this one, it's going to be very hard to get it back, because I knew the type of stuff he would amplify, and I knew what they had in mind to do. So we have to stay focused, we have to keep working, and we have to work to get this madness out of Washington and get some common sense and decency back in place, or otherwise we're just going to drown, folks. But I truly do appreciate everyone here for sticking with me here on the channel. We were closing in on 750,000 subscribers last time I looked, headed toward 800, and I really have a hard time wrapping my mind around that at times. But I do appreciate all of you for sticking with me. I'm never going to amplify those kind of voices. I'm never going to sit down with those type of people on a podcast. I flat refuse. And to the people that says, well, you need to get out of your safe space, I can sit over here where I'm at and see through them and see exactly what kind of person they are. I'm not going to sit down and entertain that and give it any weight and ask it for pointers on how to win the next election. That's never going to happen here on the channel. So I know a lot of you know that, and I appreciate you for supporting what it is that I do.